everybody, and welcome back to In The SeaWeeds. Thank you so much for returning, and I hope that you will enjoy today's guest very much. Today, we welcome Chris Schembra, gratitude guru. He is an absolutely incredible person who is changing the world one stage, one dinner, one friend at a time. So please enjoy this episode and listen one or two times to what Chris has to say. It's very impressive, very important, and speaks to the heart of all of humanity. Enjoy. I did it. We're here with Chris Schembra. Oh my gosh, the man who likes to make people cry. I can't wait to talk to you about everything that you're up to. He does. He makes people cry. And all
I love that.
I love that. And you'll all love that too when you hear why we're saying that, because there's a reason and it's deep and it feels good. So, Chris Schembra, you've done so many things. I was at your 718 gratitude dinner last March and it was really meaningful to me. Yeah. You had
Wait,
80 some people on the docket for that. Yes, I went to.
wait, the 718th?
Please tell me that's the right one. Yeah, it was March of last year. You've gone quite a bit.
Oh, wow. What, was that virtual or in person?
Virtual, and you didn't have a voice.
You came to the voiceless one?
Yeah, 11 Labs. Remember that?
Oh my God.
Dad was there. Oh my God, it was awesome. I loved it.
What a journey.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Oh, it's good. It's good for you to hear my voice this time.
I know you have a voice this time, so I'm super excited. Yeah, thank you for making time to come talk with me and share all of you.
Excited to be here. You're a good person for the world. We met through Darren McKee. Shout out 531 Social.
Yes.
Also, shout out Castley Killam's 531 model of relationship building, the art and science of human connection, social health. I think 531 in Darren is his area code.
Maybe.
So, Castley, don't go suing. You're good. He's safe. He's safe. He's one of the good ones.
Oh, he's so good. No, learned a lot from him, and then rolled right into more learning from you, and just we talk about human connection. I was like, this guy sounds like my family. You do what my family does, and I just immediately just fell in love with the work that you're doing, and I love how you share it with everybody. So having you here to tell us more, and I think for this particular audience, hearing about how you bring people to the table, how you connect people, how connection is earned. I mean, you have a couple of different ways you can talk about the things that you do, but number one is here's a safe place with kind people. Nobody's looking at you or expecting anything from you. We're just here to share and move forward, right?
Kelly, how does that feel when you say that? Well, the line "nobody's expecting anything from you." Your mother. You lead people. You provide for people. A lot of things. People need things from you. What does that feel to say that sentence?
It feels good. There's a commercial, you've probably seen it along the way, of this mom hiding in her minivan, trying to watch a movie on the screen in the back. And I always giggle with that because I may have been the antithesis of that. I was kind of the mom that always wanted the kids in my arms, always, always, always. But there were times I was really tired, and I knew every time I turned a corner, somebody needed something from me between work, the puppy, the kids, somebody. So when I say that now, at this stage in my life, I can tell you it feels pretty good.
What are the three things you think people could do when they're tired that maybe the convenient thing to do when you're tired is to do this, but most people do that and it's led us to be broken, miserable, even more tired, overwhelmed creatures that are divided, disconnected, and emotionally deregulated, finding the faults in others instead of all that unites us. And instead, Kelly, what are three things people can do that might be a little inconvenient? It might require a little bit of friction, but it's going to feel good, or it's going to get you to a better place in the long run? What's 3 things your listeners can do?
I would start right away with pull your people close. Stop pushing them away. Stop putting the phone first. You know, just like you said, it's easy. It's easy to go pick on the things and do the things that make us angry and uncomfortable, but you have people that love you near you, and find them. Find them, get your arms around them, get your voices together. First and foremost, find them, you know, because that's the thing that at the very end of all this, those are the things we're going to wish we had more time with. Not the phone, not the work, not all the things, right? So that's one. Two, it's really healing to just drink a warm cup of water sometimes and just sit and ponder the things that make you feel good as opposed to the things that make you feel bad. I think it's really important that people remember we're an animal and we have really basic simple needs, and we need to treat those needs like they're the most important things that we have. And if we stick to food, love, sustenance, sleep, activity, we're a lot happier. That leads me to three. Go to bed. Go to bed and actually sleep. I love sleep. I don't need a lot of sleep, but I love it because it really does change the human I am in the morning if I have a good night's sleep. You know, it just sets the day right. So simple.
Is that the first time is that the first time saying those 3 like that?
No, I'm preaching it to my kids all the time, but yeah, we talk a lot about human connectivity in this house because my kids are teenagers and they're being raised in a digital world. Everything's turning into robots. So we spend a lot of time forcing ourselves back into the human side, touching grass, as people say. Everybody says it, and how many people really do it? We do a lot of humanity based things here.
I love it. By the way, it's an and, not an or. You're helping them get ahead by helping them step into the new world and grounding them by helping them reconnect with humans in the old world, I guess. Well, what's old is new again.
Yeah, I love
Human
it.
connection is an ancient technology is now innovative.
Isn't it sad? I know, it's kind of like, whoa,
Kelly,
how did
it's
that
so
happen?
funny. The first keynote I ever gave in the summer of 2012
Wow.
at the United Nations, I stood up there and said, history is just repeating itself. Innovation is just history repeating itself looking different.
Yeah. Yes. So
Right?
true.
I was 25. I was 25 years old,
Yeah.
and I was being mentored by an elder whose name was Tony. I called him Papa Tony.
Hmm.
And we used to we used to put on a play about Fiorello LaGuardia, former mayor of New York City, 2-man, 1-act play. Uh, or sorry, uh, a 1-man, 2-act play about um, Fiorello LaGuardia, former mayor of New York City, 3-term mayor, 7-term congressman, spoke 8 languages, had 7 secretaries. He was truly a man of and for the people. But we would take what he was going through in 1945. His last day in office was 1945, and we would uh, relay it or translate it into what was happening in our country today. And when folks in the audience during we would always do a Q&A
Hmm.
because Tony just loved talking with the audience. And when people would say, why are you doing such an old show? Tony would say, history is our greatest teacher, and we'd be fools to ignore it. And so, we started doing that. And so by the time I got to talking, actually, maybe this was the summer of 2013 after our play debuted. Um, yeah, I think it was summer of 2013 at the United Nations with Nexus Global Youth Summit on Innovative Philanthropy and Social Entrepreneurship. But I was just a kid. But I said innovation is just history repeating itself looking different. And so I think this like ancient primitive technology of like eating together, drinking water, holding your loved ones,
Hmm.
that's innovative. I
Right.
mean, come on. I'm like out on the speaking circuit and in consulting with the biggest companies in the world, I'm teaching them ancient technologies. I'm helping them understand your Gen Z employees just bought a camcorder from 2004. They just bought a book. They bought a journal. They want to read together. That's how you win the talent war and be seen as an innovative, forward-thinking company, is by going analog. What?
Mind blown.
Mind blown. I make a lot of money doing just that. Telling people that it's cool to read a book again. It's cool to hug your neighbor. It's cool to have a dinner party. What the flying heckanona? What? What?
Oh,
That's it.
what
So
is
you're
it?
preparing your kids for life. As I'm drinking I only drink warm water. And Live Person, they gave me this mug, Ember mug, so it's always hot. I'm constantly filled with warm water in the mason jar and hot water and honey
Good
in
for you.
this.
It's so simple. We don't
Yeah.
need all the things. Like we need each other in a good way, in a kind way, in a
Well,
comforting
the
way.
the the new luxury uh of of 2026 and beyond, the new luxury is human connection. Um I mean,
100%.
we like some of our clients are in the kind of the luxury goods space. Um, some of our clients are Gucci, Balenciaga, Brioni, Ginori, Alexander McQueen, um, and they're having a really tough time because people don't want luxury goods anymore, nor do they want luxury experiences anymore. The solution the solution to loneliness is not a luxury experience.
Mm-mm.
It's a simple human experience. Um, I predict, and I'm kind of still putting together my thoughts around this, so I don't have any like research around it necessarily, but um, I think I came up with it about yesterday. Is that more people? I think I posted about it yesterday. At least I got my thoughts out. But more people, more people are anxious about AI and job loss and political instability and uncertainty. People are, more than ever. And and so you would think that the solution to that is like a rich human experience. So and people are fearful. So people want human connection, but they're also fearful of not being able to afford human connection because they might not have a job less next year, which means we need to invent solutions that are low cost human connection and not luxury human connection. So I see a lot of people in my space inventing, you know, retreats that cost thousands of dollars, or they're trying to get into, luxury, human connection, wellness, social wellness kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see that working. I truly see like whoever can invent something that costs $1.47 per person, that's who's going to win.
Yeah. We
Um,
really do have to go back to that. I mean, it's gotten so exorbitant, like ridiculous, right? Everything's just gone so over the top, and the wealthiest or loneliest, right? They're just struggling for that connection. They've done so much to get to that point of having so much wealth. I'm not claiming every single person, but there's a mass, right, of
of
them that
course.
they're just so freaking lonely, and it's like you're going to be at the end of all this fame and fortune and just alone because everybody's going to have gone on without you. You're so busy focusing on the wrong things. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you, go, no, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying there's, for all your listeners, you can go read a book. Well, I think it's also an article from Thomas Joyner called lonely at the top. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, there's a whole principle. It's like if you're an if you're an entry level employee at a company, there's 1,000 of you. If you're a middle manager, there's 300 of you. If you're a VP, there's 50 of you. If you're the C-suite, there's 10 of you. If you're the CEO, there's one of you. And that's a really lonely place to be. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Not all my.
No,
I have hundreds of friends that have built, big companies, and 1,000 employees, 10,000 employees, 100,000 employees, and all of them say that their favorite part in business is when there were 5 people.
yeah.
They were all connected, and there was a family style feel. And yeah, it's not. Before the pandemic, one of my favorite books pre-pandemic, was written by a guy by the name of Paul Jarvis. It's a white book right there, and it's called Company of One. And he kind of challenges that staying small is the next big thing in business, because when you go big, it becomes lonely. But when you stay small, you can pick and choose how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and you can be more flexible to meet those kind of needs. You know,
I so respect that, and I so believe it. I think I don't know, last year sometime I put out something on LinkedIn about, it's okay to stay small, in a place where everybody's talking about going big, big, big. It's like, what about the ones who are happy or small?
and by
There's,
the way, yeah, and by the way, small doesn't mean less money.
yeah, no,
Like
it just,
for all of you solopreneurs or business owners that are watching, or people that are dreaming of leaving the 9 to 5, like staying small doesn't mean, I think the opposite is true. I mean, staying small means, if you want it to mean, super high margins, super flexibility with your time, a little bit of freedom. Of course, there's tons of negatives that come with it, but I don't
of
know.
course.
It's all I know, and I'm not doing anything different. And now AI makes it to where I can do the work of 10 people, but it's just 4 of us.
I love it. Yeah, you've gotten to use AI in a really positive, constructive way, right? I mean, I think there's there's fear factor to everything, but AI is not exactly new. It's been around a long time. There's been all sorts of things going on back there, but
Well, I think
it's
anytime, yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot to be fearful about. Two things is,
mhm,
just one, the positives and negatives of any technology. For instance, when fire was invented, it did good things and bad things. When the railroad was invented, it did good things and bad things. So this is very natural, right? When Facebook was invented, it did good things and bad things,
yeah,
right? It's a human trafficking site, and it helps connect a global population. So it's good and bad, right? Everything, right? Um, and so AI is just the same. It can do good. Like, a client of mine, they run tens of millions of chat conversations through their, they make on-site enterprise grade conversational AI, like chatbot kind of things. But like, they were the first to do it, and so they're really good. They like save lives because EMS workers can actually chat with, or the call centers can actually chat with the people, and then they can deliver the things to the EMS work. So like, they save lives. Cool. And there's been people who've killed themselves because AI said to. So they're like, there's good in both. But the second thing, the second thing is, like, the second part of that equation, about fear of AI, is the idea of what human beings do when they're given free time. Like, if you look throughout the history of the world, every time we give a human being more free time, we usually use it for bad things. We usually use it to like stoke fear, be more angry, be more divided, um, greed. We usually become more sedentary, which is crazy. There's a whole paradox of like, work expands to whatever the time constraint is. Like, creativity loves constraints. So like, when you have smaller amount of time, you use it more wisely. That's like Larry David says, ask a stage 4 cancer patient for like life advice, but don't ask a stage 2, because like,
yeah.
Like, so when you give people time, it's like when you go up to a buffet, if you have a small plate, you fill up the small plate and that's all you need. But if you go up with a big plate, it kind of like you like fill that big plate. That's human beings' default is laziness. And so when we're given a bigger plate to go to the buffet with, uh, we use it in that way. And so AI will give us more time because it takes away, it streamlines the mundane. And so that's what I'm scared of, is that we just historically for thousands of years we don't take free time well, and it's about to give. I mean, there's a billion knowledge workers, $1.7 trillion of student debt, who were propped up on the proposition of knowing something, like that their livelihood is to know something, but that system is collapsing, right? And so what happens to those people? They're given free time. It's not good free time. They're looking for a job, but like they're given free time. And so the likelihood is, like, I'm scared of what happens to humanity because of that free time. I'm excited about what happens to humanity in terms of our ability to solve uncurable diseases, our ability to do magical things for art and creativity. But like, I don't know. So it's it's yeah.
Always the double-edged sword. It just decide you have to decide which side you want to be on.
But it's not the first. But by the way, it's not the first time. I mean, you can see, you can go back to like the 1200s and 1300s and look at the fall of the Dark Ages, and the bubonic plague that wiped out about a third of Europe. Remember, folks, like we're talking about AI taking our jobs, not necessarily AI wiping out a third of the world, right? A third of the world died in the bubonic plague. At least a third of Europe died in the bubonic plague. But what did it give rise to? The Renaissance. The Renaissance.
Something positive on the other side, right? And I think that's something else to remind everybody in all of this. Like, if you're looking for the positive side of it, that's the side that comes, right? It's just like every
Yeah.
other conversation, every other thing in life.
There was I think there was a Rolling Stone article that we wrote about this this writer. I forget his name, but he's studying the it's called a civic renaissance or civic renewal. And you can go back to like the early 1900s when America was going through a really hard time, just like this. You had a lot of robber barons, you had big industry, the industrial might, industrial war power, like same shit. It's the same shit. It's the same identical shit. It's the same stuff. But what did it give birth to? It gave birth to movements and the Boys and Girls Clubs and different civic projects. And so I think we're going through a same American reawakening that we did back then, a civic renewal. And so, we're seeing that. So that's the good part, is that, I think hopefully there's a good early chunk of America that is taking action and not resting on their laurels. So that makes me hopeful.
Me too. The more we remind people that they're people and those basic needs, right? Coming together, getting everybody back together.
Yeah, we're down to, and again, I had this conversation with, it was a hard conversation to have, but I had it nonetheless, because I literally teach conflict resolution classes, at the world's biggest companies. And, I know how to hold this tension. But in the 2024 election, November 2024 election, what won the election? The base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm not getting political, folks. Do not think I'm getting political. I'm a literal, I have the capacity to hold the tension of opposites. It's what I'm trained on for a living. I've sat with tens of thousands of people to see the good in them rather than the bad. You're about to see the bad in me, but that's on you. I don't give a shit. But one political party was selling the base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Their campaign was food, water, shelter, security, economy. The other party was selling identity. That's at the top of the pyramid. Oh, I'm not saying where I voted. I'm not saying what I agree with. I'm not saying whether I do or do not like what this administration is doing. But what I'll say is, from a keen observer of things, one was selling something a little bit higher up on the food chain, privilege, identity, belonging, and one was selling the bottom of the food pyramid, safety, security, economy, food. And so the truth is that party won, for better or for worse, won. But that's actually the world we're living in now, is that we're back down to a triage, at war, need for courage, learning agility, adaptability, and proactive resilience. That's where we are as the world.
Yes. Chris, I love how you just said that. Yeah.
Everything else is a privilege. Everything else is a privilege. In a down economy, you have, because it's a down economy. We've got 4 AI companies propping up the S&P 500. We've missed the jobs numbers. Anyways, but
Yeah.
so when times are tough, we need to band together. When times are tough, we need to rely on, courage and proactive resilience, which means we're stronger together than alone. Right? Fighting identity politics is not, we don't have the room for that anymore. We're just struggling to survive.
Yeah. And you're right. You just said it. When you're struggling to survive, all the things are now what we need. We need to huddle together. And that is that basic set of things that the one side was offering but didn't get to bring to the table. Those are just those basic things. They're not sexy. People don't think of them as exciting or what they want or what they're after. They're like, I don't care about food and basic needs, all those things. It's like, but yeah, you do, because when you don't have them,
Mm-hmm.
you're hurting for them. It's the only thing you want. You're not looking for the Rolls Royce that day,
No.
You're hungry and you need a
Yeah.
freaking hug. And it's like, you don't always know until you've been there. I I've been there. I lost a lot early in my life, and it was the most painful stretch of things I've ever done. And it changed me. And I realized that, like, the things I was striving for the rest of my life were just different from a lot of peers. But when it's like forced on you, the layoffs,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wages, right, things like that, it changes you. And so it's funny how, like, all of a sudden, like you said, we're coming back. It's like innovative to have time together. It's innovative to sit and have a meal and have 5 minutes to talk where everybody else normally
It's
just bypassing.
it's also interesting, your background.
Mine.
Is there anything of relevance to that background?
To the oncology.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Or
talking about?
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So
Oh, my
there.
background. Oh, this background.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought you meant like my career. No.
So
Wait.
there's a Japanese principle. It's either kintsugi or wabi sabi, um, and it's a you 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 drop a you drop a pot, you drop a pottery, and in order to put it back together, you fuse it together with gold,
Mm.
which means that a pot that cost $20 that now has 2 pounds of gold in it is worth more than before it cracked.
Yeah. I love that.
Right?
I love that.
But there's even something unique, is that the potter, the Japanese potter, he sits on the floor to do it. It's humble. It's grounded.
Grounded.
He's drinking warm water, because the Japanese don't drink cold water. They drink warm water. They're against cold water. They say it's bad for you, for your digestive stuff. But
Oh, really?
so you're right. You're down. What is it called? I just wrote about it. It's so you're on the ground, and you're putting something together that's cracked. You're making something beautiful out of it. And I think that that's the metaphor that all of us listening to this call can know, that whatever way you're broken right now, I
Yes.
can't promise you that it's going to be all right, but I can promise you if you figure out a way to put yourself back together, it's going to be a more valuable existence than where you began.
And if you learn more about Chris, you'll see that that's true. And if you dig into me, you'll find that that's true because you can be so unbearably broken and become something so powerful
Yeah,
later. You know,
but
you're proof of it.
but even for the naysayers out there that are like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you want to get ahead, if you want to, sorry, if you want to not get left behind, you have to tell that story. You have to. See, in the future or in the current age, AI is taking everything thought leadershipy. If you're a solopreneur, if you're a consultant, if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, if you're an author, whatever, if you're whatever you are, AI is taking all thought leadership away from you. The minute that you have a novel idea and you put it to AI, it's giving it to your competitor.
Absolutely.
The truth is, we now have something called like dead internet theory. Like we're all just like pulling from, and the LLMs are learning from AI generated mush. The more evolutions of AI that goes on, actually statistically dumber in terms of like what they're learning from. Okay. Okay. Which means all we really have left is not our original novel ideas. All we have left is our stories.
That's right. That nobody
Okay.
can change.
Well, let me tell you a story to help you win. Not feel better, but win. Let me tell you a story. There's a guy named Andy who's walking down the street like this. He works in finance, like some of y'all. And he falls into a hole. He gets thrown in prison for something he didn't do. And jail sucks. I don't know. Raise your hand if you've been to jail on this call. No? Okay, just me. Um, Jail sucks. Folks, it's hard, you know, but he ends up meeting some people. He ends up learning some things. He ends up navigating some systems. And after 19 years, he crawls through a 400-foot tunnel. He chiseled behind a Rita Hayworth poster, and he escapes down to Mexico to open up a resort with his new prison bestie, Morgan Freeman. If you're watching this, comment below what movie that is. That's the Shawshank Redemption, folks.
It is. Oh my gosh, I couldn't spit it out.
If you go to imdb.com right now, folks, you will see it as the number one rated movie of all time. Okay, Kurt Vonnegut, great writer from Slaughterhouse-Five, long time ago. Kurt Vonnegut once rejected Master's thesis. It wasn't even approved, but rejected Master's thesis, his hypothesis. He posited that all stories have shapes. And, you've got like the boy meets girl, you've got the Cinderella story, you've got the rags to riches, but the most successful story of all time, he found, movie, books, TV, plays, whatever, is the man in the hole story. You walk down the street, you fall into a hole, you learn some things, you meet some people, you climb out, and the new normal is better than where you began. So let me tell you, in a world tomorrow where the only thing that matters is your story, in which you have to go out and live a life worth telling a story about, tell the man in the whole story. Because if you only post the human highlights, you risk looking like an asshole. If you only post the top 10 ways to do something because you found it on AI, you will slide your way into mediocrity. The more wittier the sentence that you see online tomorrow, the higher likelihood it was created not by the person. Wittiness, originality, thought leadership has no place in the world anymore. It's done. The only thing that you can gain authority by doing is sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And those are principles from AA that I've spent a lot of time in. content creators will become less valuable and community builders will become more valuable. You want to gain authority, want to influence without authority tomorrow, build a community, invite someone to dinner, let people see you as the curator of people, of the gatherer of people, and then you get to be privy to the information that's never been shared with the world. Create spaces that can't be recorded or replayed, and you will win. That's it.
And you know what?
And folks, that's not a top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs thing, by the way. That's a base of the pyramid. The new base of the pyramid is to remember your original ideas don't matter anymore. But yeah, I know, folks, I am not making this up. I'm not making this up.
Swirling in the matrix
We're
out there
all
right now.
swirling around in the same shit, saying the same stuff.
I know.
The only thing that matters is your ability to get out into the world and do cool things and then write about those things. That's it. Nothing else matters.
Thank you for saying it.
I could literally look at, now what does matter is curation.
Yeah.
And taste. The ability to be able to pull together dots and make something of them, that requires you, the human being, to be radically present in conjunction with another and help them connect dots and to do something with that collection of dots. That's curation. That's having taste. Like someone, a curator of an art gallery, right? The co-founder of OpenAI literally just tweeted, taste is going to become one of the top skills in the age of AI. This is the co-founder of ChatGPT, folks. Taste. Like Michael Caine in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, taste.
Favorite movie.
Okay, favorite movie. So Kelly, you remember the scene. So folks, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, without giving away the movie, is Steve Martin as like an idiot American low-level con man who cons people out of $5. And Michael Caine is this debonair English con artist who owns a big property in the south of France, Beaumont-sur-Mer. And he cons people out of like 6 figures, 7 figures. And him and Steve Martin, long story short, get into a little tussle on his turf where he ends up agreeing to become Steve Martin's mentor to teach him how to be a fucking G. Right? But Michael Caine gets frustrated at Steve Martin one time, and they're walking around the town, and Michael Caine says, you know why you'll never be successful? Because you have no class. You have no taste. He said, do you know what I wanted to be when I grew up? When I was a kid, I wanted to be a sculptor and a painter. The only problem was I wasn't very good at either of them. But the good news is I have taste. And taste is what helps attract people. And that's where he cons people, is because he attracts them based on his taste. Okay? So folks, you don't have to be the originator of net new content, but you have to be the curator of the right room full of people who do. That's how you win tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. It's the people you surround yourself with.
I mean, my first job title was founder and curator of the 747 Club. And then my second job title was chief question asker of 747.
I love that.
But both are important. Actually, all three are important. Founding shit, curating shit, and being a chief question officer asker.
Questioning shit. Yeah.
The 3 most job titles of tomorrow are founder, curator, chief question asker. I've been all 3. And boat captain.
And boat, I love that. You gotta get down here and do some boat captaining. Come back to the south. It was warm here today, by the way.
Where do you live?
North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Near Darren?
Not too well. I used to live really close to Darren, but now I live at the beach, so
Wrightsville?
where the big D is, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, come visit.
That's fun.
Molly.
I'm from Hilton Head.
I know.
Oh, Yeah.
I knew that.
Okay. I never know who knows what.
I know. That
I
was
don't even know what I know. I somehow have a great mind for dates, but I don't know what I know or who knows what.
no, I love that. You're full. You've got like just such a robust, full, busy, learning, curating, curious mind, and it's busy in there. I mean, and you meet so many people, Chris. My gosh, I don't know how you do it, but I love that you do it. I love that you
Curious,
affect.
curious, curating, chief question asker.
Yeah, there's a dog. My dog.
Oh, interesting. 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 Okay, so you let's see. Curating, chief question asker, curious. Curating is the ability to hold the tension of opposites together. Curious, and chief question asker. Curiosity is a you thing. Chief question officer is a they thing, and curating the ability to hold the tension of opposites is an it thing. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thing. Welcome.
Me, us, it. Regenerative leadership.
Yeah.
It's also part of Keith Frazie's co-elevation engine on teamship.
So, boat captain. I'm gonna come back to that for a minute because that's a hell of a leadership role.
It was
Survival,
fun.
basics. Yeah. Was that like serious captaining? Like, how did you do that
Well,
for my coastal people?
yeah. So I grew up in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and I had a boat before I had my first car, and I was the shrimper growing up, and so every time that we would gather as a group, I'd go out and get the shrimp, and so from a commercial standpoint, um, I was first a kayak tour guide and stand-up paddleboard instructor on Hilton Head for the company outside Hilton Head, and we'd bring tourists around the South Carolina Low Country. And I was so good, I even won Golden Paddle of the Year award. I was so good at kayak tour guiding. And then, I uh, moved down to live on a glacier in Patagonia, South America, and yeah, learned how to not die out on the water,
Good.
and decided that I could level up when I got back to America. And so the minute that I got back from South America, I went and got my captain's license, of which I had, you know, just a great joy and no problem doing. And so then I started running boats. And so, we would take people around the South Carolina Low Country for a whole day. I ran small boats, 16-person boats and under. I was licensed to drive big boats. I was a master captain. I had my master's license, not just my 6-pack, and so I was licensed to do a lot more than what I did. But we would be given a group of people, and we'd have to spend 10 hours taking them around the South Carolina Low Country, telling them stories, entertaining them, feeding them, tubing with them, fishing with them, shrimping with them, dock jumping with them, you know, teaching the kids how to drive without actually not letting them drive. Those kind of things. And all of that was really between like all of that was really between like 2008. And really, when I moved to New York City on August 31st, 2011. And so at the time, I was either living at home with my parents, or I was living on our boat in the marina. And so I'd actually like swim to work and show up wet. Um, that was
That's a
great.
good life. That is a good life. That's
No, it was wonderful. It was literally, it was all just in the heart and, embodied. The tides are, these magnificent creatures,
yeah.
and so the tides really dictated our life.
Yes.
And so it was a really primal existence. The tides dictated where we could go, if we could see the dolphins, were we going to get cut up by oysters. It was a wonderful, wonderful embodied. You got no choice but to respect the tide. It's like the one constant thing on earth. Like weather change, like temperatures change, but like the tides remain the same. When there's a new moon, there's less fluctuation. When there's a full moon, there's more fluctuation. It's more consistent than the weather.
Yeah. Then pretty much anything. I know I love our tide schedules. I'm like, I know exactly when to go out. When I come back, we watch the boats go out. We watch the boats come back. We watch them get stuck when they don't know what to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool existence. I'm glad you got to experience that. And I'm sure the people loved you. The entertainer, the storyteller side of you had to be quite the gift for all those folks. I love it.
It was fun.
Aw, good for you. And then New York sucked you in. It's got a heck of a draw to it, doesn't it?
Well, she's powerful. She's humbling. I think my britches had grown too big living on Hilton Head, and so I needed to move to New York City and get humbled again and explore. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, come
Feels
on,
good.
New York City's a higher power. She'll chew you up and spit you out, and she forces you to develop resilience and respect, and those that respect her get rewarded.
Mm,
Those that give to her, that pay tribute to her, I think are blessed. You're blessed by the people, you're blessed by the architecture, you're blessed by the energy. But you got to show her the respect that she deserves. She's made a lot of people really happy through her years. She gave my grandpa opportunity as an immigrant, right? Like it's this is, our families had the opportunity to serve her in 9/11, like yeah, yeah, yeah. This is like, our cities. She's worthy of, adoration and respect. She's a goddess.
amazing. Yep, living, breathing.
Yeah.
I love it. Good for you. Amazing. You said that about your grandfather being an immigrant, and part of your story, one of my favorite parts of your story. You have a lot of favorite parts for me that I've learned about you, but your story about going to Italy and coming back a changed man. The same thing happened to me when I lived in Europe. I came back and went, "Oh, I'm not living like you all are living ever again. I'm not doing it." I've seen the other side, so I don't know if you want to tell that story. If you have time to tell that story, but
Yeah. I mean, like for all of you that are, kind of watching this, maybe your life kind of feels similar to mine does at times. You're going through the motions, you're doing the thing, you're in this little like, comfortable kind of existence, not really pushing the buttons. Um, and I had one of those moments in life. I was working in the world of theater, which, on paper looks exciting, but it's just a job.
exhausting.
It's just a job. And this one time we got the great fortune of going over to Italy and putting on a Broadway play, which was amazing in itself. I learned the language. I got to negotiate with the locals. We got to put on a great production. Italy was great. But when I got back home, I kind of fell apart. You know, Italy had woken up this new thing inside of me. And when I got home, I realized that I wasn't living in that energy each and every day. You know, those of you that are watching, you've probably felt it before. Just because life looks good on paper doesn't mean it feels good in the heart. And so I realized that when I realized I was living another man's dream. And I realized that I'd probably spent far too long in a dead-end job that probably wouldn't set me up for corporate success later. And so I was feeling a type of anxiety. The success that I thought like would bring me internal fulfillment by producing a Broadway play over in Italy, you know that doesn't equate. You know, folks. And so I found myself in this like deep, dark hole. Right? It was the middle of 2015. I'm saying, what the heck am I going to do next? And I'm lonely. I just broke up with my girlfriend. I'm disconnected. I'm underwhelmed. I'm insecure. I'm anxious about what tomorrow may bring, like you may be sharing in the anxiety today. And so I thought to myself, just a brief little pause, and maybe you could think about this in your life. What brings me joy? Like what stirs my soul? And I realized in the moment, food, specifically the way Italians eat food around the dinner table till the wee hours in the morning. And I said, my God, I got to do some of that stuff from Rome back here in New York City. And so I invented a pasta sauce recipe. Right. By the way, I was sitting on my Murphy bed in my 300 square foot studio apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan when I had this whole freaking awakening. I was like, this ain't it. Um, and so I invented a little bowl of pasta sauce. It's for those of you who are only watching on or listening on audio, I'm holding up a jar of red sauce, slightly spicy. Your grandma might call it arrabbiata. Anyways, I decided to feed it to people to see if it's even good or not, and decided to host a dinner party. I folded up my Murphy bed. I borrowed chairs from my mentor. I pulled tables off the streets of New York City for free and hosted a dinner. July 15th, 2015, I invited 15 of my friends that didn't know each other, right? Complete strangers to each other over to my home for a simple bowl of pasta sauce. I made sure arrivals were at 6:30 p.m. sharp, all caps lock, all underlined, emailed 7 times in advance. Don't be late. We worked together to create the meal. I said, you can't pour your own glass of wine. You can't sit next to someone that you know. We had a great dinner. We drank awesome wine. And then at 7:47 p.m. that very first evening, I paused and I asked a very simple question. If you could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, or that you've never thought to thank, who would that be? And folks, I know you feel it when I'm asking you right now. I can see it in your eyes. Those people around my dinner table, they took a breath that they didn't even know they were holding. I watched their eyes soften. They started flickering through all the people they've met through their life. And they almost got a tinge of guilt, of little regret. How have I never thought to thank this person sooner? And they sat with that conflicting emotion. But you know what they did next, folks? Because we created the space for it. They leaned in and they told the most amazing story. And we went around popcorn style, each of us taking a few minutes to share this gratitude story. Never thought to thank our parents, our teachers, our dog, our ex-bad boss, ourselves. And it was amazing. few people cried, as Kelly said in my introduction. They love the pasta sauce.
It was spicy.
And we've been doing those dinners every single moment we can ever since. I mean, within that first year, we did 54 dinners in 52 weeks, feeding 808 people for free in our home. Simple rule. First time you come alone. Second time you come, you get to bring a friend. After that, you're eligible to email in and nominate someone to attend without you having to be there. And folks, you're probably sitting here saying, what was the point? Well, the people we knew at the beginning of our journey faded away because they only saw us for who we once were. But they ended up introducing us to the people who saw us for who we were becoming. If you want to change your situation in life, change who you surround yourself with. Oh, life is a blend of meeting new people and deepening relationships with existing. But just a simple dinner party can do the trick. Every dinner cost me $40. I'd go to the store, I'd get 4 boxes of pasta, a wedge of brie, an apple, ciabatta bread, stuff to make pasta sauce, a little bit of ice cream for dessert. That was it. That was it to feed 20 people. That was it. All right, $50 a week. That's it. So yeah, that was the dinner table. Oh yeah. I mean, like, I'm not kidding. It's the greatest joy in life, and it's how, I mean, the way we did it. I mean, we literally did like every week, once a week for free in our home, and by the end of the year, I mean, when I say, like, I'm not stretching the matter, folks. The rule is 6:30 p.m. sharp, which means you're scared shitless to be late. Which means some of the most powerful people you've ever met in your world have emailed me an hour early saying, I'm going to be 13 minutes late. Should I turn around and go home? I don't want to be an inconvenience. Folks. So by the time they get there, they're knocking on the door, bottle of wine in hand, ready to come in and cook me dinner. So you got to work together to create the meal. I don't do jack shit. I've even hosted a dinner party blindfolded to show people I don't do jack shit.
Tell them what you do, how everybody contributes.
Yeah, so like, 6:30 p.m. sharp, so like, I'm sitting next to a window, right? I can look out this window and I can see people circling the block 15 minutes early. Like, oh, there's Karen. She made it. Oh, there's Adam.
Yeah,
I've run it. I've forgotten bread at Whole Foods and gone out to get the bread 30 minutes early and run into people who are on the phone with their brothers to figure out what bottle of wine to bring. And when I say come early, they say, no, I'm going to go meditate in my truck to get ready for the dinner. So then they start coming in, 6:30. Everybody's rolling in. Go put the bottle of wine on the table, open up, start drinking, make a friend. At 6:58 p.m., I grab my first 3 people. 2 people I'm putting on bread duty to cut ciabatta or a baguette together. The other person I'm saying, put all the pasta in the pot. So now these 2 people are cutting bread at 6:58 p.m., right? They're going like this. At 7:02 p.m., those 3 people are still in the kitchen. One stirring the pasta and the sauce. The other 2 are cutting the bread. At 7:02 p.m., I go and give a welcome speech in the living room with my girlfriend, Molly. Now imagine this. You've got 20 people in the living room with me. It's an open floor concept apartment, so like it's all one room. But like you got 20 people in a living room listening to me and Molly talk, and you got 3 people in the kitchen doing work. Here's the funny part. The people that are cutting the bread are like secretly envious that they're not in the living room listening to me, but at the same time, they're secretly proud that they're being put to work and they're contributing. The people that are in the living room listening to me are really happy they're not in the kitchen cutting bread and they can like take a photo of me or whatever talking, but they're secretly envious that they don't get to be of service like the people cutting the bread. Folks, come on. Are you reading between the lines? This is human connection, right? This is friction. I'm pretty much putting people in a corner to where everybody's just turned their backs to them and they're just working in service of people who have just turned their backs on them.
That's beautiful.
That's a metaphor for life, folks. Keep serving the people, even if you're diametrically opposed foes, and even if they've just wronged you. No, don't let that come in the way of positive impact and generosity of service. That's how this world works. You want to succeed, you maintain that attitude of service. And so every moment of the dinner table is architected for that kind of thing. Every moment, every moment, every moment is architected for that. So that by the time we then get to the gratitude question, and now we put people in breakout groups because the dinners are so big that you can't just go around the dinner table with 40 people. But there's something, when we were in a 350 square foot studio apartment, we had 3 4-foot folding tables that made 12 feet of table for 16 to 20 people to sit at week after week. It took up the whole apartment. Murphy bed up. It took up the whole apartment. The bathroom's right there. Whole apartment. Well, now that we have a big apartment, you would think we would get a bigger table. No, we don't have a kitchen table, which means that during dinner parties now, everybody's sitting on the floor, sitting on the couch, sitting on our bed, standing in the kitchen, standing in the living room, just holding a bowl of pasta. So then we put people in breakout groups to do the gratitude question. And then at 8:30 p.m., we come back into the living room to just sit on the floor and all just talk about life. And I get to be grandpa sitting in the rocking chair in the corner, facilitating and holding space. And folks, all of this is purposeful. The idea of, the painting behind Kelly, being made by potters that put together broken pots and fuse it together with gold to make it more valuable than where it began. It's the same thing. We're sitting on the floor. We're grounded. We're humble. We're in service of each other. There's no ego. No ego. The architecture squashes the ego. That's the goal.
Beautiful. And it works. I can feel it from every angle of
Oh my God. The best thing is CEO. The best thing a billionaire can say when they walk in the door, when I know billionaires are coming, right? I'm right at the door, ready to fuck them up. I will hand them a fork like it's a live grenade, and they will stare at it. And I'll say, "Go set the table." And they will listen, and they will breathe, and then they will obey. And when they do that, holding a fork, holding 13 forks for 16 people, looking confused as hell, saying, "Did I get some, you've got them." Right? And so the best thing that a billionaire or a CEO or an Academy Award winner or a Grammy Award winner or a Super Bowl champ, the best thing that they can say when they walk in my door is, "It feels so good that nobody knows who I am and nobody needs anything from me." And that is the sacred art of surrender, of being anonymous, of, being held instead of being the one holding. Right? If you're a CEO of a 20,000 person company, if you're Kevin, Ron, Tony, Ben, Henry, whatever, if everybody needs something from you, you're holding space for everybody's neediness. But when you get here, you get to be held. You get to be held. You get to be known. You get to be whole. You get to learn how to hold tension. You get to pass a bread with someone you hate.
On purpose.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to hate someone you just passed the bread to. My God, that's why I hate 0 people. Because I've sat with so many people and understood we have more in common than we have differences. That's it. The end of the day, it doesn't matter what you believe in. I know at the end of the day, you probably had a mother, a father, a grandparent, some kind of friend, a teacher, and we can share those stories. Even if the mother or father did bad things to you, you had one. It's a character we share in common.
Basic humanity. I so stand by that. I love that. At the end of the day, what are you? You know, and you're not a CEO. You're a human.
That's it. That's it.
That's freaking awesome. I love what you do. I love everything that you do. I completely appreciate you for putting it into the world. More,
I
more, more.
I know that I know that there's, probably a lot of people that are wondering, like, okay, where do I begin? Let me give you a few simple kind of, ideas. One, like, the next time that you like host anything, don't make it say come whenever you want. Make it say sharp. Like, come whenever you want is the enemy of connection. Put a hard wall at the end of it. People know 6:30 p.m. sharp, you're going to be out the door by 9:32 p.m. Communicate that on the front end. The second thing I want you to do is to ask a question that's not easy for another. I know that when we connect out in public, our default is, what do you do? How's the weather? What'd your kids do at school today? No, ask a hard question. It may be awkward in the moment, but they'll remember it for a lifetime. And the third thing I want you to do is say and, not or. And I'll tell you 3 tiny vignettes in closing. April 26, 2009, I was 11 and a half months sober, literally leeching onto sobriety. Literally. 3 stints in rehab, getting kicked out of school, 2 stints in jail, warrant out for my arrest. I was holding on to sobriety. So I went and got a tattoo of the Serenity Prayer in my arm.
You did.
It stands for, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? Serenity to accept, courage to change. Opposites, and, not or. Okay. I drank the next day, by the way, and I've been drinking ever since. Second thing that happened, my book hit #1 on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list after launching on June 21st, 2022. I watched it climb and climb and climb and hit, and I went to the bodega and I bought the newspaper and I took a selfie, or I took a photo with the bodega owner with my book at the top of the Wall Street Journal list, and me and Molly went to Hotel Del Monte to have a drink, and it was great. And the next day I was miserable, because all of you know, we say we'll be happy when or if we accomplish that thing, but it never really truly happens. And so in that darkness, I turned to psychedelic therapy. That worked for a little bit, but then I turned and was introduced to something called dialectal behavioral therapy. DBT is the study of 2 opposing truths being held at once, the ancient study of dialectics. And they teach 4 things in DBT: emotion regulation, mindfulness, interpersonal effectiveness, and distress tolerance. And they do it by telling you it's okay to hold 2 truths at the same time: radical acceptance and change. Sound familiar? Crazy. Well, March 20th, 2024, I have 2 keynotes that day. First is in the morning at JP Morgan Chase in Columbus, Ohio. The second is at Booz Allen Hamilton in Washington, D.C. at night. No boat, train, plane, car would get me there in time. So I was privileged. I earned the right to charter my first private plane. And I'm sitting on the plane, crying my eyes out, realizing how much gratitude I have for being able to do this, considering I'd just gotten a concussion 4 months prior. And all my whole 10 years of work is wrapping up in tears and emotion, all these kind of things. And I open up my email and I get an email from the number one chef in the world, Massimo Bottura, who owns the number one restaurant in the world, 2016, 2018, Osteria Francescana, and his new cookbook has just come out. And it's called Slow Food, Fast Cars. And that's when I realized this one region in Italy is the home of some of the slowest food in the world. Parmigiano Reggiano, prosciutto di Parma, ragu alla bolognese, tortellini in brodo, balsamic vinegar that takes 80 years, and the fastest cars on earth, Ferrari, Lamborghini, De Tomaso, Ducati, Pagani, Maserati.
Got him.
It's an and, not an or. And so in closing, folks, next year is going to be crazy. I can't promise you that you're going to navigate it. But what I can promise you is if you stop saying or, humanity or AI, radical acceptance or change, meeting new people or going deeper with others, and you start saying and holding that tension of opposites and doing what you need to do to hold that tension with your emotion, with your distress, with your agility, you're going to be just fine. Whatever happens. We can't predict the future, but we can speculate. And what I can speculate is a lot more emotionally regulated adults ready to tackle on the challenges of tomorrow, but do it together.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chris Schembra. Oh my gosh. The message is clear. We're doing it together and we're going to navigate it all and we're going to be just fine because we're together.
Woohoo!
And we are going to have pasta.
Lots of
Lots of
pasta.
pasta. Maybe some fast cars, Chris. My son's trying to race for NASCAR someday, so
Let's go.
not formula, but hey, one of these days we're gonna get some more fast cars. So I of course have to plug that because he's so excited and having such a good time. But there's nothing better in the world than bringing people together at a dinner table and letting everybody just let those shoulders down, talk to each other like humans, and find the common ground, which is a lot more common than we give it credit for. So thank you so much for your time. That was awesome. Every story. Savor it, everybody. Tell your stories. He's right. All this fancy, I did this, I did that, really has to come from the heart now.
Yep. Yep.
Everybody sounds the same. It's like, yeah, it's getting hard to listen to and read anymore. So tell the story of you.
Go for it, folks. Kelly, thanks for having me.
Thank you kindly. You're amazing. I appreciate you so much. Everybody listen to this a few times. Got it. Ciao. You can find more about Chris Schembra at chrisschembra.com and be sure to pick up your copy of Gratitude and Pasta and Gratitude Through Hard Times, two very important books for the art of humanity and all those who appreciate human connection and, of course, food.